In this question, we're told that there are some small cubes and some large cubes in a bag. The cubes are red or the cubes are yellow. The ratio of the number of small cubes to the number of large cubes is 4 to 7, and the ratio of the number of red cubes to the number of yellow cubes is 3 to 5. And in part A, we need to explain why the least possible number of cubes in the bag is 88. Well, now we need to think about what these ratios mean. If the ratio of the number of small cubes to the number of large cubes is 4 to 7, we have a total of 11 parts, because 4 plus 7 is equal to 11. And if the ratio of the number of red cubes to the number of yellow cubes is 3 to 5, we have a total of 3 plus 5, which is equal to 8 parts. Now the cube can either be small or large, and it can be red or yellow. You can have a small red cube or a small yellow cube, or a large red cube or a large yellow cube, which means that the two ratios need to be talking about the same number of parts, because the total number of small cubes and large cubes would have to be equal to the total number of red cubes and yellow cubes. And so to find the least possible number of cubes in the bag, we want the smallest number that allows the ratio of the number of small cubes to the number of large cubes, and the ratio of the number of red cubes to the number of yellow cubes to have the same total. And so what this question is really asking us to find is the lowest common multiple of 11 and 8 in order for the two ratios to have the same total. And so the least possible number of cubes in the bag is equal to 88 because the lowest common multiple of 11 and 8 is 88. We're now told that all of the small cubes are yellow. And in part B, we need to work out the least possible number of large yellow cubes in the bag. Now if we're looking for the least possible number of large yellow cubes, we need to work with the least possible number of cubes in total. Now from part A, we know that the least possible number of cubes is equal to 88, which means that in this part of the question, we're going to assume that the total number of cubes in the bag is equal to 88. Now we can use a two-way table to represent the information given to us. We know the total number of cubes in the bag, and we have the ratios between the number of small cubes and large cubes, and the number of red cubes to yellow cubes. Now let's work out some values before we can fill in our table. Now the ratio of the number of small cubes to the number of large cubes is equal to 4 to 7, and so the fraction of small cubes would be equal to 4 out of 11. And so to find the number of small cubes, we'd multiply this fraction by the total number of cubes. And so we can say that the total number of small cubes is equal to 4/11 multiplied by the total of 88, which gives us an answer of 32. Now we can apply the same principle to the number of large cubes. We can say that 7 out of 11 of the total number of cubes in the bag is the number of large cubes, and so the number of large cubes would be 7/11 multiplied by 88, leaving us with an answer of 56. Now looking at the ratio of the number of red cubes to the number of yellow cubes, well 3 plus 5 is 8, and so we can say that 3 out of 8 of the total number of cubes would be equal to the number of red cubes, and so the number of red cubes would be 3/8 multiplied by 88, giving us an answer of 33. And finally, we can say that the total number of yellow cubes is equal to 5/8 multiplied by 88, giving us an answer of 55. Now let's put these values into our two-way table. We said that the total number of red cubes is equal to 33. We said that the total number of yellow cubes is equal to 55. The total number of small cubes is equal to 32. And the total number of large cubes is equal to 56. We also know that the number of all cubes in total is equal to 88. Now we're told that all of the small cubes are yellow, which means that we can say out of the small column we have 32 yellow small cubes and 0 red small cubes. Now let's look across the table. We know that the total number of red cubes is equal to 33. There are 0 small red cubes, and so there must be 33 large red cubes in order to make up for the total of 33 red cubes. Now we know that the total number of yellow cubes is equal to 55. There are 32 small yellow cubes, and so the total number of large yellow cubes must be equal to 55 take away 32, leaving us with an answer of 23. Now part B asked us to work out the least possible number of large yellow cubes in the bag. Looking at our table, we've found that the number of large yellow cubes is equal to 23. And so we can say that the least possible number of large yellow cubes in the bag is equal to 23. Now this question is worth 4 marks. We get the first mark for saying that the least possible number of cubes in the bag is equal to 88 because the lowest common multiple of 11 and 8 is equal to 88. We get the second mark for drawing a two-way table, which can help us to represent the information given to us. We get the third mark for finding the total number of small cubes, large cubes, red cubes, and yellow cubes. And we get the fourth and final mark for using the information we found in order to find that the least possible number of large yellow cubes in the bag is equal to 23, allowing us to get the full 4 marks needed in this question.